Hoy es miércoles. Feliz miércoles. Quiero empezar con la palabra de Dios. Filipenses 1:6. Estando persuadido de esto, que el que comenzó en vosotros la buena obra, la perfeccionará hasta el día de Jesucristo. Being persuaded of this, that he who began in you all a good work will perfect it till the day of Jesus Christ. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to the completion till the day of Christ Jesus. Believing more than ever that God is sovereign and he's in charge. He started a work in me, he started a work in you, and he's going to faithfully complete it. Vamos con el verbo del día. El verbo del día hoy es mi trabajo. Today's verb of the day is my job. To teach, enseñar, to teach or to show. I'm showing you how to do Spanish, I'm teaching you. It's the same thing, enseñar. So take a look, preterite tense, write this down. Escríbanlo. Enseñé, haste, o, amos, aron. I taught you yesterday. I taught you the day before. Enseñé. Actually, Mr. Jordan taught yesterday, didn't he? Okay. Enseñaba, abas, aba, abamos, aban. I was teaching. I used to teach. I used to teach in front of a class full of students. Now it's empty. It's just me in here. All right. O, as, a, amos, an. I teach. And the subjunctive. It's good that you teach. Es bueno que enseñes, profe. Hemos, and it's the subjunctive when you're giving your opinion or saying, I wish that, ojalá que. Ahora, we're going to review this thing called por versus para. Yesterday, Mr. Jordan did a great job subbing in for me, explaining in a visual way por versus para. I'm going to re-explain it. You need to pay close attention. Simply writing down my notes, the notes from what I say, is good, but not enough. You've got to understand what those words mean in context. So stop the video or watch, listen to each detail, because these are the things that are going to come up on a quiz, or for those who actually want to know Spanish, these are going to keep coming up. So pay close attention to everything I say today, and you're going to rock and roll por versus para. All right, let's go here. Por versus para. This is what you should have on your notes. Get those out again. Let's review over them, what they mean. Por. They both mean for, but they mean a lot more than for. Por is cause or reason, all right? You might be thinking, por qué am I sitting here at home and not at school? Por el virus, because of the virus. It's the same as the word por qué. Que comes when you want to use a verb after, but por el virus, because of the virus, estás en casa. Bueno, or por el gobierno, because of the government. I don't know how dangerous the virus is currently or not. Next one, number 2, by means of. How did I get to ECA today? Por carro. How are some people getting to Florida? Por avión. How are you watching me? Por YouTube. By means of. The next one, por is a period of time. How long have we been studying por versus para? Por 3 días. For 3 days. Or what time of the day do you watch these videos? Some of you, especially some girls I'm thinking of, watch this por la noche, like the middle of the noche, or at like 4 in the morning. I've gotten homeworks in por la mañana, during the morning. Por means during or duration of time. Next one, por means through. Por means through. How do you get to Chicago? You have to go por Gary. Or how do you enter that room you're in? Por la puerta. Through the door. Or when you go to a park, you like to caminar por la calle. Por el sendero. Walk through the path, through the street. Por means through. Por also means exchange. When we have class again, you guys are going to get out your pesos. You're going to say, profe, 5 pesos por una paleta. 5 pesos in exchange for a sucker. Or exchange could be this. Hey, Dad, I know it's my job to wash the dishes, but could you do it for me tonight? ¿Puedes lavar los platos por mí? And I'll do you another favor later. Por, exchange. Exchange, one thing for another. Jesus died on the cross por nosotros, on behalf of us, or in exchange for us. Por can also be on behalf of, exchange. Okay, there's another preposition, is para. Para is with goal or purpose. Para tends to be heading in a direction toward. So I would say I'm explaining this with the goal of you understanding por and para que entiendan. Or if you can legally say, in order to. So I run every day para tener buena forma. I run every day in order to have good fitness. Para. If you can say in order to, and there's a verb coming up, it's going to be para 100% of the time. 90% of the time, if it's a verb after the blank, it's going to be para. But if you can say in order to, it's para, with the goal. Para means toward, when you're heading towards something. Like, hey, somebody got up from their seat right now, and mom's like, hey, where are you going? Voy para el refrigerador. I'm heading to the fridge. Para, direction towards. Also, para, direction towards when it comes to a deadline. A deadline. What do you mean? Well, the quiz, is it Wednesday? Is for tomorrow. I'm preparing you for tomorrow's por versus para quiz. Para mañana. All right? When do you need to know these things by? Para próximo martes. By next Tuesday, we're going to have a test. Para, deadline. Para, employment. It's the same idea. I work for your parents who are paying ECA. Para sus padres. I'm teaching this lesson for you guys, para ustedes, because I already know por versus para. Para, recipient. You paying attention? Good. Next one, para, opinion. This one's a little different. These four are all direction. This one's a little different. For me, maybe even I'm pointing at myself, maybe that, or for you, I guess it could be kind of direction. For me, politics is interesting. Para mí es interesante. For you guys, para ti, para ustedes, es aburrido. All right? Or as the Apostle Paul said, for me to live is Christ. Guess how you say that in Spanish? Para mí, vivir es Cristo. Morir, ganancia. To die is gain. Para mí. My opinion. Para mí. All right, I have these little cartoons to help you understand this a little bit. Por is an arrow going through the target. Por, through, or the duration of time, the period of time. Para is an arrow heading toward a target. And these 1, 2, 3, y 4 all deal with direction towards. So your goal, I'm working towards my goal. Toward, literally walking towards. Deadline, it's when it's due. Employment, this is the construction company. I work for them. I'm giving them my services. Para, opinion. It's all headed towards por, kind of that it goes through the target. If that's another way of helping you understand this, so be it. If Mr. Jordan helped you, so be it. If going over the homework is going to help you, so be it. Now, I'm assuming that you've already done the homework. If not, pause the video and brainfully go through these things. Don't just write por, para, por, para. Don't. You've got to brainfully do it because you will not understand it just simply writing por or para. And by the way, you can't write par or pora either. All right, here we go. I think we are on page 301. 301 in your workbook. Yeah, go there. 301. Activity 1. Now, I'm going to break down each of these. Listen to my reasons why you're right or why you're wrong. I know you have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. All right, here we go. Activity 1. Raúl va a publicar su primer artículo. Number 1. I don't know how I did that, what I did, but it's por eso. Por eso. For that reason. He's going to publish his first article, and for that reason, he's nervous. What caused him to be nervous? He's writing his first article. Number 2. Raúl called me blank teléfono. He called me by telephone, por teléfono, by means of, and para pedirme una entrevista. Notice it's a verb, it's an infinitive, in order to ask me for an interview. So it goes por, para. The second one's para because it's in order to, with the goal or purpose. Number 3, Raúl va la escuela. He's going to school. Direction toward the school. Para la escuela. Second half is also para. Notice it says para tener tiempo. Notice if it's a verb next, 90% of the time it's going to be para. But why? Can you legally say in order to have time? Yes, profe, that makes sense. In order to have time. Para tener tiempo. Para goes before verbs when you can say in order to. Number 4, he worked on the addition for how long? How long? Duration of time por una semana. Duration of time for a week. Activity 2. Activity 2. Let's scroll. How do I scroll this up? Right here. All right. Activity 2. Number 1. Escribe artículos para el periódico. He writes articles para. I'm writing it. The newspaper receives it. It's direction towards its employment, however you want to see it. Para. Number 2. Number 2 looks like this. Dice gracias por la comida. He says thanks for the food. Now listen. You have to listen to my reason why on each one, because you could have gotten lucky and wrote por. You could have got unlucky and wrote para. Let's take a listen. When I give thanks, it's exchange for something. I do you a favor, and you give me thanks back. It's exchange. And which one is for exchange? Por. Whenever you say thanks, it's por. All right, activity 2, number 3, works as follows. Va a venir por la noche. He's going to come during what time? Duration of time? What part of the day? During the night. He's going to come at nighttime. Por la noche. Por. Next one. Tiene la tarea para la maestra. He's got his homework para la maestra. Who's receiving this homework? The teacher. Here's your homework, teacher. Which one goes toward or direction or recipient? Recipient is para. Number 5. Number 5. Estudia para sacar buenas notas. If there is a verb after the blank, use para 90% of the time. He studies in order to get good grades. It's the goal. Is there a 6? Is there a 6? No, there's not. All right, and the next activity, I don't think I can really be too specific, but let's take a look. What do we hit? Okay, so if you, answers are going to vary. This is kind of hard to grade, but here's what I say. If you chose walk, where do you walk? Por la calle, you walk through the street. Obviously, the subject could be different, the verb would conjugate different. You don't walk on a phone, you don't walk on a newspaper, and you could walk para la escuela, towards the school. That would make sense too. Number 2, if you chose salir, it's to head out, to leave. What is the only place you can head out for or leave for? You can't leave for the phone, you can't leave for the newspaper, you could head out for the street. You could say, sale para la calle. He's heading out of his house for the street, heading towards the street, or para la escuela. All right, that's another thing you could say. And the last one you could say, oh no, there's more than one. Me llama por he calls me, she calls me por teléfono, by telephone. Doesn't call me by a newspaper, doesn't call me by a street or by a school. That makes no sense. And if you wrote it, change it, because it makes no sense. Escribe para el periódico. He writes for the newspaper. He writes for the phone. Makes no sense. He writes for the newspaper. Makes sense. He writes for the street. No. He writes for the school. That makes sense if like school newspaper. All right. Next activity. Turn a page. Turn a page. Activity 1. Actividad 1. How's this work? All right. You guys probably just drew a bunch of lines or something. Cecilia va para la casa. Why? She's going towards the house. Next one, va para is direction towards. Listen to my reason why. All right, me llamó por teléfono. He called me, what means? Telephone. Me llamó por teléfono. Por, by means of. Escribió la invitación. He wrote the invitation. Who receives it? The students. Para. They're receiving it, is going toward. Here's an invitation, guys. He wrote it for the students. Number 4. Right, hopefully I'm making some kind of sense. He took the time para organizar. Once again, what comes after a verb? It's going to be 90% of the time para if it's a verb next. In order to organize. She took the time in order to organize the newspaper. It's good. All right, number 5. Gracias. Every time you say gracias, it's going to be por. Because thank you for exchange. Thank you for being so attentive. There's not a number 6. Okay. If you chose to do activity 2, which you probably did, activity 2 looks as follows. All right, number 1. How we publish this article para poder entender. In order to be able to. Once again, 90% of the time. If after the blank is a verb, and you can say in order to, can you say in order to be able to? Yes, you can. Number 2, we investigated for 2 weeks. Duration of time, por 2 semanas, duration of time. Number 3, that's why we know. This is an expression in your vocabulary you need to know. How do you say that's why? Por eso. Why is it por eso and not para eso? Cause, for that reason. That caused me to think that. Por eso. Now we know why. Number 4, by tomorrow, for tomorrow, we have an interview. Deadline. When's the interview? When do I have to be ready to talk in front of a camera? Para mañana. For tomorrow. Deadline. Number 5. We have an interview with the director to talk about these themes. How do you say in order to talk about? Para hablar. Once again, there's a verb after, it's going to be para 90% of the time. If you can say in order to. Have I said that today? Yeah, I have. Okay, activity 3. This is another one that can have various responses. Maybe some of yours are similar to mine, maybe not. Number 1, I buy gifts. Everyone has that. Para mi hermana. I buy gifts for my sister, for my mother, for my brother. Para recipient. You can't say por. In exchange, I buy a gift and I get to keep my brother. That makes no sense to say por. If you wrote por, change it. Para because of recipient. Number 2, I do things. You could choose por or para after this. Por is on behalf of. So like, I do things for my church, por mi iglesia. On behalf of my church, I represent them. Or if you say para, is recipient. Like I'm explaining por and para ustedes. Hago estas cosas para ustedes. I'm doing this for you. You guys are receiving it. So it depends what you're trying to say. Both are correct if you say it correctly. Hey, and the last one, I run. Now, I run, if you go through a place, like I run through Oxbow, por Oxbow. But if you run in order to do something, that would be para, like I run in order to stay in shape, para estar de buena forma. Or, I thought of another one just now, I run through, oh, I said that one. I run por, para, oh, yeah, I run to, like I'm going to run to the lake. Yo corro para el lago. I run towards the lake. That would make sense as well. All right, so we got a lot of practice with this today. I'm going to drop a couple of songs on the end for you, but I want you to watch this video closely. I'm going to pause it, and we can see por versus para in the chapter video. And I'm going to just do it in Spanish. So I think it's a minute and a half if you get that kind of attention span.
¿Puedes explicar por qué te gusta ser la editora del periódico?
Porque me gusta investigar sobre los problemas escolares y presentar las opiniones de los estudiantes. Por un lado, es divertido, pero por otro lado...
Por otro lado.
Por otro lado means on the other hand.
Por otro lado, es mucho trabajo. Siempre tenemos que terminar el periódico para los...
All right, we always have to finish the newspaper para los jueves. Why para? That's right, deadline.
Jueves a las 5. Y por eso siempre estoy...
Por eso, for that reason, the cause. Estoy aquí por mucho tiempo. I'm here por mucho tiempo, for lots of time, duration of time after school.
Estoy aquí por mucho tiempo después de las clases.
¿Cuál es el titular del periódico de hoy?
Los estudiantes quieren uniformes.
Sí, los uniformes no solo son más bonitos, sino también más baratos. Los estudiantes no tienen dinero para...
Students don't have money para comprar, in order to buy. Students don't have money in order to buy different clothes every week. Para, in order to, or the goal, or the purpose.
Comprar ropa diferente todas las semanas. Y...
Lorena, para una directora...
Lorena, for a director, you talk a lot. Para is the opinion. You have an opinion. For you, you're a talker.
Tú hablas mucho. El documental es sobre el periódico o sobre lo que tú piensas.
Perdón, pero también tengo mis opiniones.
Pues por eso tal vez debes hacer...
She's like, excuse me, I have my opinions. Well, por eso, for that reason, perhaps you should make a movie about your life.
Hacer una película sobre tu vida.
And that spawns next chapter's video. A video about Lorena's life. Stay tuned. Okay, listen. Tonight you're preparing for a quiz tomorrow on por versus para. And I guarantee you the answers to the questions are por, para, por, something like that. Probably not that order. Know the rules. Know por versus para. And plug them in.